We cannot underestimate how huge of a win that is for Liverpool Football Club. And one as an Arsenal fan where I'm kind of looking at it and being like, there is that quality still there. And everybody definitely needs to be wary of it. I've said it many times before, don't write off this Liverpool team. And tonight is a massive example of why that is the case. Before I do begin, if you are a Liverpool fan, if you're new here, please do hit the subscribe and the like. I'm always analysing games of rival clubs in a very fair manner. But yeah, let's just look at the game. And from the start, we'll be honest, Frankfurt were all over Liverpool. I think the intensity of Frankfurt was there. I think the energy and the application from Frankfurt was there. It's what you expect, going away from home in the Champions League to a side like Frankfurt in the competition, off the back of a couple of poor results themselves, conceding a lot of goals. They would have themselves wanted to put things right. They're not in a too dissimilar situation to Liverpool in the sense that they've been very inconsistent, leaking goals that they shouldn't be leaking. But when they were putting that pressure on, they had opportunities, they had a couple of chances. There was the one in which, he was offside in the end, but it would have been onside where it deflected off a Liverpool player. Then, of course, you had the one that ended up in the goal from Christensen. And it happened where there was a huge space in the middle of the park. And you're kind of thinking about Liverpool and you're looking at their lineup. You're thinking Szoboszlai and Jones. That gap is there. It's showing two players who are not very much renowned for their defensive sort of attributes. But I think after that goal from Christensen went in, something flicked for Liverpool. It genuinely flicked. I saw, these guys are now locked in. These guys are now understanding the game they're in. These guys are now nullifying the threat of Frankfurt. There's something that big teams love to do, and it's suffocating and not allowing for a release. All the best teams limit the transitions of the smaller teams who want to play on the break. And I feel as though Frankfurt are sort of defending in this rigid sort of 5-4-1 formation. They tried to make it really tight and sort of compacted. But what Liverpool did, they were relentless. They pushed Van Dijk higher. They had Konate a bit higher as well. So what that inevitably does is it moves the centre forward backwards, because he's not an orthodox centre forward. He's sort of a guy who's, he's a winger now, really, and he's up there trying to be a runner to go on and be one of those leaders in the counter-attacks. But when Liverpool started to build a pattern of play, started to really squeeze the pitch, it became easier. The gap started to show. You had players like Wirtz, who I think was phenomenal tonight. We'll get on to him in a minute. Picking up pockets of space. Szoboszlai was driving through the middle with ball carrying abilities. He had those switches as well to the wider players. Such a shame Frimpong went off, but I feel as though Bradley coming on, he had a really, really good impact in the game as well. So when you're looking in the grand scheme of things, Liverpool, after that first 5, 10, 15-ish minutes, they locked in. And the first goal, we've got to talk about it in chronological order, was phenomenal in terms of from back to front, from a defensive situation in terms of Liverpool having to be really strong structurally. Robertson collects the ball and plays a wonderful ball into Ekitike. And I mean, my word, it was just like that in the back of the net. And this is what you have when you have these quality attackers. There is no doubt in my mind, Liverpool have world-class attackers. No doubt in my mind. And those world-class attackers are going to help them to keep being consistent and win games, without a shadow of a doubt. And Ekitike, the way he took that ball across the defender, it was like he was the Flash, and it was embarrassing for Robin Koch. It was genuinely embarrassing because you can't defend against that. And the finish, he's so clinical as well. Slots it under the keeper, and then the respect and the celebration is nothing less in terms of what you would expect from him in terms of being really respectful to Frankfurt. But it was just like that. Robertson, the ball forward was phenomenal. I think he was really good tonight, and a lot of people talk about Kirkez. He's had a really shaky start, but you're seeing the regulars, the guys in which were impacting games for Liverpool last season, are really stepping up. I feel like in a back four, when you've got a Robertson next to Van Dijk, Konate, Bradley, Frimpong, it's a toss-up. I think either or. You can feel the stability a lot more. You can feel the defensive ability 1v1 of Robertson. He knows how to get forward. He put a lovely, lovely set of deliveries into the box. I think it was him who crossed for Bradley, who headed it down. So Robertson had a really good game, and that pass, he deserves a lot of credit for that, because there was a lot of quality on that ball. And I feel as though in this time now, you've got to give the praise to players when they're doing things right. And that ball from Robertson was everything in terms of being correct. And obviously Ekitike with a phenomenal finish, and the touches he had throughout the game, the way he was picking up the ball in centre forward positions, he just feels inevitable, even against Manchester United. I know I didn't talk about that game in terms from a Liverpool standpoint, but Ekitike, when he came on, there was venom, there was vim. That is what you want to be seeing seeing from your attacking players? Can you come onto the pitch, make an impact, and show that you should be starting? And I feel like Ekitike, I don't think it's something that is completely out the blue that what I'm about to say. He's been better than Isak. He should be starting as a centre forward. When you're looking at Liverpool's attack, you want the most balance there is. Shifting Ekitike to the left, you're going to lose the ability that he has in the centre forward position. And for me, Gakpo has been showing. He got the assist. He scored himself. You can't drop Gakpo right now. And I know Liverpool fans, they saw the lineup. I saw the reaction. It was like, oh, Gakpo, is he messy? Why is he starting? But he's one of those players where you can see his impact in the final third, his delivery. He just feels like he should be there. Like, I feel like he's one of Liverpool's better performers in that attack on that left-hand side. And you can see why, in which Arne Slot likes him really to add that balance to the attack, cutting in a different type of threat to somebody like Ekitike, who's going to be there, really dribbly tight, come inside the pitch. Gakpo can hold the width. And holding the width, having players who can be central like your Wirtz, like your Szoboszlai, like your Curtis Jones, it's important. So I think Gakpo had a really good afternoon in terms of being a threat, in terms of creating, in terms of scoring, being in the right place at the right time. A really good finish from him, from a Wirtz creation. I think that's where we could now talk about Wirtz, because I think he was phenomenal. The way he was picking up those pockets of space, the way he was spreading balls out wide. He was so unlucky not to score tonight. Mo Salah had to square it. I'm sorry. We know how good Mo Salah is. But look at your mate here. You know how difficult it is. I know Salah wants to score. I know he would have been frustrated to be on the bench. And these are the big decisions that I like from Arne Slot. Dropping Salah, maybe it was a game week too late, but it sends a message. Look, a lot of Liverpool fans wanted to see Mo Salah drop because he's not been at the levels. He's been dropped. You see someone come in like an Isak and Ekitike front two with Wirtz in there. You can see it's a lot more fluid. I'm not saying drop Salah forever, but I am saying that's an option for Arne Slot now. If he feels as though, okay, I'm not going to play with Salah, I've got this front three. We can have guys holding the width in terms of Bradley, Frimpong, Gakpo. It could be Chiesa. It could be anyone on the left-hand side. But Liverpool can still have quality and threat without Mo Salah. And obviously, he's going to AFCON. So you've got to slowly integrate these sort of things, because ultimately, he's not going to be here in a couple of months' time. And I feel as though we saw some glimpses. Maybe Isak was a lot quieter, but players like Wirtz was just so good today. The free kick he had was really good. The quality on the final ball was really good. A lot of people were shut up by Wirtz. I know he's a quality player. This isn't a surprise for me. But I feel as though he needed a performance like this back in Germany to show everybody what he's all about. And he should definitely stay in that lineup. And in terms of course, we can keep talking about the guys like Jones and Szoboszlai in the middle of the park today. They were phenomenal. I think those first 15 minutes, they were finding it tough without Gravenberch, who's normally in there. It can be difficult. But as the game progressed, they got their distances correct. They were mopping the ball up. They were driving forwards. They were keeping possession. They were physically there. All the things you want to be seeing from a double pivot, they were doing it. A phenomenal goal from Szoboszlai. He's so good, striking outside the box. His energy, he's on the right side, he's on the centre side, he's in the left side. He's everywhere. And then Curtis Jones, the composure on the ball. I really like Curtis Jones. And if you've watched my videos, I'm always complimentary of him because I think he's a really, really good player. But in terms of the quality within that two in there, in terms of, you know, you've got yourself Szoboszlai, you've got yourself a Curtis Jones. It allows for your Wirtz and your other attacking players to pick up positions higher up and impact the game. So I think those two are really good. Nice as well to see, you know, Van Dijk and Konate on the score sheet just to boost their confidence. They were sweeping things up really nicely. Mamardashvili didn't have much to do, which is always a positive sign. But that performance, people will be like, Frankfurt leaked goals. That's a poor side. United were a poor side. They didn't win that. So now why are we changing the narrative? I think that's a huge win for Liverpool, and it's one which is going to propel them into a very, very scary set of good results from their sort of point of view. But as a rival fan, you know, this is now a time where Liverpool are going to start kicking on. So my team, Arsenal, need to really watch out.